Today, we're talking about the three key elements of great tenants. So, if you're here, let me know who you are and where you're from, and let's get started. All right, so three key elements of great tenants and how to find them, how to screen your tenants really, really well so you can find great tenants that have these three key elements. Number one, tenants who always pay rent on time. Second, tenants who take care of your property. And third is tenants who are easy to do business with. So, again, the three key elements of great tenants is number one, they always pay rent on time, they take care of your property, they don't destroy it, and they're easy to do business with. Those are the three key elements of great tenants and how to find these tenants, right? So that's what we're going to talk about today. My name is Palak. If you're here live, tell me who you are and where you're from. And if you're watching a replay, drop hashtag replay in comments so I know you were here. So some of the questions we're going to answer today are number one, the three core checks that are the most important when finding and screening good tenants. Second, why credit check might not end up being what you think it should be. Third, I'm going to talk about my philosophy on tenant relationships. And this is a little bit different than what you might hear other investors talk about. So this is going to be a little bit different than what you're familiar with. And I'm going to talk about how to create a balance between having a fulfilling relationship as a landlord at the same time not crossing those professional boundaries and having really good business relationship with your tenants. And then we're going to talk about how we balance social impact and profitability in our business. And then any other questions you might have, we'll talk about those. All right, so let's get started. Let me see who is here. Grateful Beyond from Los Angeles, Isaac from Brooklyn, New York, Leslie from the Bay Area, Vaibhavi, Victor, Kalyan. Hello, everyone. So excited for today. This is a really hot topic because a lot of people used to ask me these question when the pandemic first hit, like, are you guys still collecting rent? Should I be concerned that we are in a pandemic and people are going to stop paying rent? About 90% of our rent was collected even during the initial phases of the pandemic, which were the most difficult. And then 10% is a tenant who came and they told us that it was a roommate situation and both of them lost their job. One was a personal trainer and one was a waitress, and they were roommates and they both lost their jobs because as soon as everything shut down, the restaurants shut down, gyms shut down, and they didn't have jobs. And so they both decided to move back in with their parents. They were young adults, decided to move back in with their parents. And they said, can you let us out of our lease because we cannot pay rent? And so I see a lot of people um, look at it differently, but I'm going to give you a perspective on this. So in my perspective, that's the sign of a good tenant. A good tenant's coming to you and they're saying that, listen, our economic condition has changed, our finances have changed, right? We are no longer making the same income we were making before because the pandemic hit all of us. It hit all of us differently, but it did hit all of us. And it was a very tough situation. And that's a sign of a good tenant who's coming to you and they're telling you that, hey, we are unable to pay you rent. What can we do about this? Can you let us out of our lease? And to us, that was great. We were like, yes, absolutely. I would rather that they come to me and then they want to get out of their lease, then they just live there, not pay rent because they're not making money, not take care of the property. And so we were like, yes, we worked it out with them, we ended their lease early, and that's why this is 90% and not 100%. So that's what happened when pandemic first hit. And people always ask me, why were we able to have that option? Why did we have such good outcome when it came to collecting rents after when the pandemic first hit? And that's because of two things. There are two key elements to doing it, where your tenants will always pay rent on time, take care of your property, and they're easy to do business with, right? Two ways, two key elements to doing it. Number one, you have to screen your tenants really, really well. It all begins at screening. That's the foundation. So don't ever take that lightly. And second is run your real estate investing business like a landlord professionally. You don't want to show up as a mom and pop investor. You want to show up as a professional who's running a business. Those are the two reasons why we were successful even as the pandemic first hit, when a lot of people were having a really hard time. All right, so number one, let's talk about screening. So the three core checks that we do on all our tenants, and that is not where we stop though, but these are the three basic things we always do: credit, criminal, and eviction check. And if if you're listening to this and you're wondering whether that is possible in your state, I would highly recommend you call your city and make sure you're following the law. So, this is what we do, this is what's acceptable where we live. You want to make sure that you keep up with the laws where you live. Don't just take my word for it. Okay. So, I mean, not where you live, where you do business. So make sure that you know that you are able to do these three things. So credit, criminal, eviction check. That's what we always do. Now, I see a lot of investors talk about how they can't find a tenant, and with these three checks in mind, right? And I thought it was interesting because as soon as we talked about going live today, someone asked this question on Instagram, and they were saying that, hey, I have this minimum credit score that I go by, but that really reduces the tenant pool. What do I do? So, this is something that I notice a lot of investors do. And this is my advice to you: don't, you know, don't take this lightly. You need to really um, make sure you understand what your tenant pool is made of. That's the most important. So, one more time, the three core checks we always do when renting to tenants are credit, criminal, and eviction check. Those are the three key checks that are important. On top of that, we also do a check on their previous landlord references, we do income verification, we do a lot of other things, but these three checks are the most important. All right. Now, when it comes to these checks and the credit score requirement, I'm going to tell you that you cannot just rely on somebody else's credit score requirement and try to implement those within your business. You cannot just go by what your credit score requirement was when you were renting, or if you're renting now, cannot just go by that and implement that within your business. You have to look at what your tenant pool is made of. So don't blindly implement screening strategies from other investors, from other neighborhoods, or from your own past experience. You need to develop your own screening techniques based on where you are investing. So, if I said to within my tenant pool of where we invest, right? We invest in B and C neighborhoods. So, if I started requesting an 800 credit score where I invest, I would not find a single tenant. And we don't have that kind of requirement, and we still end up with great, hardworking, really good people as tenants who pay rent on time. Again, three things: pay rent on time, take care of the property, and are easy to do business with. So we still continue to have great success despite not having this high credit score requirement. That's because I understand my tenant pool really, really well, and I've learned how to screen well within that tenant pool. So make sure that you don't just blindly go with a credit score. All right. And we teach all of this in detail. If you're ever interested in working privately with us, we teach that all of this in detail in our program. All right. So the next is my philosophy on tenant relationships and how to create fulfilling relationships with your tenants without crossing professional boundaries. So I've noticed new investors always talk about how they're friends with their tenants and they have such a great relationship with their tenants. And then a year down the line, you hear all these horror stories. And so that happens because your relationship with your tenant is not a professional relationship. All right. So if you're always used to being this nice guy or nice girl, I need you to step out of that and stay nice, but add a professional element to it, right? That's what we do. So yeah, you can still be a good person, you can be a nice person, no doubt, but come out and add a layer of professionalism to it. So what we do is we have had amazing tenant relationships, and the way we do it, number one, is treat this business like a hospitality business. You want to make sure that you are taking care of your tenants, you are responding to their comments on time, you are fixing things when they need to be fixed. You are actually a good landlord. But at the same time, you need to be firm and fair with whatever your policies are. Okay, so let me talk about policies for a second. If you don't have your policies written down, you need to start now. Always have your policies written down somewhere so that decision making is not a hit or miss every time. You're not trying to guess what to do every time. You need to have standard practices for every single aspect of your relationships, ongoing relationship and tenant management with your tenants. So have your policies written down. So one more time, the way we maintain fulfilling and professional relationship with our tenants at the same time, the way we have a relationship with our tenant that is, I'm going to say it one more time, the way we have relationships with our tenants that are fulfilling but professional at the same time is, number one, by making sure that we are a good landlord. We fix things on time, we respond to their issues quickly, and we take care of them as tenants, right? We fulfill our responsibilities. But at the same time, we have policies in place for everything. There is no guesswork involved when a tenant calls with an issue. There's always a policy in place for every single scenario. And you can build this over time, but don't change things up as you move forward. So that's how you maintain that relationship. And you always want to be fair and firm. And when you say you're going to do something, do it, right? So a lot of people say that, oh, I've threatened eviction with my tenant. Don't go around threatening eviction if that's not what you're going to follow through with. If there is a real issue, talk it out with your tenant, but follow through whatever you say you are going to do. If you're going to say you're going to send a plumber tomorrow, send a plumber tomorrow. That's how you show up as a professional. All right, and then I want to talk a little bit about balancing social impact and profitability. So we are really big on balancing social impact and profitability. I really think that even as a small landlord, have so much you have you have a lot of ability to make an impact in your community, right? We can do so much with the whatever situation we're in. And so the way we create social impact within our business, and we are a business, so we have to be profitable, but that doesn't mean we don't make social impact. So the way we do it is, number one, we know that there is an affordable housing crisis in this country, and two-thirds of the landlords don't accept Section 8 vouchers. We want to be a part of the solution, so we accept Section 8 vouchers. On top of that, we want to raise the bar on Section 8 housing. So not only do we accept Section 8 vouchers, we also provide top-notch finishes, right? We high-end finishes. We're always putting stainless steel appliances, granite countertops, and we have amazing customer service for our Section 8 tenants. So we are raising the bar on Section 8 housing. We provide great customer service, we provide great finishes, and that allows us to make social impact in our own way within our own business, right? So don't ever think that just because you're a small business owner, you cannot create social impact and balance social impact and profitability? Yes, you can. We can do it in our own small way. So the way we do it is we accept Section 8 vouchers. We want to be a part of the affordable housing crisis solution, and we do accept Section 8 vouchers, but also we provide high end finishes and top notch customer service to our Section 8 tenants and raise the bar on Section 8 housing landlords. So that's what we do to balance social impact and profitability. I would love to know if you have any other questions, drop them in chat. I also have an amazing um, ultimate tenant screening guide, if I may say so myself. It is the best guide I've ever found. Drop in comments if you're interested in getting a copy, and someone from my team will get it out to you. Let me see if there are any questions or comments while I'm doing this. Um, all right, you solved one of my questions that I had about relationship with tenants. Thanks. Absolutely, 100%. I'm so glad. All right, so while you guys are typing your questions, if you have any, I would love to know what was your biggest takeaway today. I always want to know what has been your biggest takeaway. What was most helpful in today's live? Let me know in comments. I would love to know. And I am going to check my chat while you do that. So while you guys are typing any questions and what was most helpful today, let me give you some information on what's coming up. We have a few spots left in our uh, portfolio program. Portfolio program is our 3 month immersive program where we teach you how to build the business of real estate investing from start to finish. It's like getting an MBA in real estate investing, and it's really compact. It's like really we cover a lot in 3 months, and we work only with a handful of people at a time. So we have a very strict screening process, just like we do with the tenants, right? That allows us to have an amazing community, that allows us to bring ambitious investors who get success in our program. So if you're interested in participating in our program whenever you're ready, all you have to do is comment below and we'll get you the information you need. Or you can go to Open Spaces Women /book a call. All right, I see a couple of comments here. Let me see. Susan Morella 10 says she's interested in getting the tenant screening guide. And holistically, Sonia is saying the same thing. She would love a copy of the tenant screening guide, 100%. I will get that out to you. Any other questions? Let me know. And again, please drop in comments what was your biggest takeaway today. I would love to know that. And I'm going to check and make sure I'm not missing any comments here. All right, you guys. I believe I got all the comments taken care of. One more look. Yeah, got it all. All right, you guys. I'll see you next week on our next live. Keep an eye on your email and wherever you're watching this to find out what the next live is, what the topic is that's coming up. If you have a topic in mind, drop it in comments and I would love to cover that in one of the upcoming lives. All right, everyone, have a good day. I will talk to you next time. Bye now.